Again, the definition of the horizontal asymptote is the horizontal line for which the graph approaches but does not cross. The vertical asymptote is the vertical line for which the graph approaches but does not cross. Let's go after these three items here, the horizontal asymptote, the vertical asymptote, and the domain of this function, which is the center of this section here. Look at the horizontal asymptote. Visually, hopefully you agree that that's that line right there. And what we say here is this horizontal line is the horizontal line that our graph approaches but does not cross. In other words, if we were to take positive x values off to infinity, our curve here will not touch this line. And we kind of hit that the last couple of examples, but this is the equation of our horizontal asymptote. Now, the difficult part is the vertical asymptote, but to do that, we should find the domain first always. Let's go after the domain first. The domain is all real numbers, or any number that could be taken in to our function that results in a defined expression. Well, any value for x can be placed in here except for one. There is one number out here for x that will make this bottom 0. After some trial and error, you may be able to think about it. You may be able to think about the number that if I plug in here will make it 0, maybe in your head. But we can use an algebra move here. We could do this. We kind of cheat a little bit and do this. Set the bottom denominator or the denominator equal to 0 and then solve that equation, and that'll give me the x value that makes the bottom 0. So if I solve this simple equation, I will get that x equals negative 2.5 makes this piece 0, and that also makes this piece 0. So that our domain is all real numbers except that value right there. So I'll write it this way. Right, all real numbers except negative 2.5. And what we said in the previous example is that this domain, or specifically that number, is related to the vertical asymptote. The vertical asymptote appears where our function is undefined. In this case, well, visually it's not here, it's not here, well, it's right there. Our vertical asymptote is right there. Let me draw it for you in green.